It's in the name.
Welcome into Season 4 of the Good Old-Fashioned Dislike Podcast, where dynasties never die, and hate is an extreme word, but just barely. On this podcast, we usually pick a football rivalry, and we usually submit it to the panel of dislike, and they come up with reasons why we like one team, dislike one team, and vice versa. By the end, we usually come to a conclusion of where our loyalties lie, but tonight we're talking March Madness, and if you don't know, our panel of me, Ben Hayes, Blake Holloman, Josh Thorne, and Will Mahan make picks starting with the college football bowl season and rolls all the way through March Madness. And then the winner, who gets the most wins, gets a free jersey. If you join our bracket pick'em challenge, if you beat everybody, you come in first place, you get to pick a free piece of merchandise from benandtravis.com/store. So be sure to join that. The link is in the description. In March Madness, each person gets to pick a matchup as we work our way through. Josh and Will finished with 34 games a piece, while the rest of the panel had 35. So they'll get the first two picks of the bracket, all that fun stuff. And so first thing first, we've got Will is going to – actually, Josh is going to pick between Duke and Siena. He is going to go with Duke. And then we have Will picking between Ohio State and TCU. He goes TCU Horned Frogs. Then we have Ben Hayes picking between St. John's and Northern Iowa. He's going to go with St. John's. Then we have Kansas versus California Baptist. I'm going Rock Chalk Jayhawk on that one. Then we have Blake Holloman picking Louisville and South Florida. He goes with the Cardinals. And then we have, Ben picking between Michigan State and North Dakota State. He's going with the Spartans. I've got UCLA and Central Florida. I'm going with UCLA. Used to be dominant in college basketball. We've got Josh has got UConn beating Furman. And here comes our cat Bruce to join the show. And he's making his way around. Of course, he doesn't want anything to do with anybody until we're live. He wants to make his Facebook debut. So far, we've not got a whole lot of upset picks for sure. So now we're on to Florida. Who had that pick? We got Blake picking Florida over Providence and Lehigh. Will Mahan's going Clemson over Iowa. Then we're back to Ben. He's sticking with the SEC and the Vanderbilt Commodores, as my son says. And then we have our first upset pick. We got Bro Kings. He says Iowa is winning their first round matchup. They're beating Clemson. That's his thoughts on that. This is our first big upset. I'm going with the Troy Trojans. I don't know if it's region bias now that I'm in South Alabama, but I'm going with the Troy Trojans over the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And next we have North Carolina versus VCU. That's Josh Thorne. He's going with North Carolina. And then we have I'm trying to keep the cat out from messing up my setup here. Blake Holloman going with the Fighting Illini. Then we get Will taking the A&M Aggies over St. Mary's. And then we get Ben taking Houston Cougars over the Idaho Vandals. And that takes up the South and the East bracket. Who is your first round upset? Who's on upset alert for the first round of this bad boy? So we're over to the West. We've got Arizona versus Long Island Sharks. I love that name. And I'm taking Arizona. Josh is up with Villanova and Utah State. He's going Villanova. Blake is going with Wisconsin over High Point. Will Mahan taking Arkansas Razorbacks over the Hawaiian Rainbow Warriors. Ben's taking BYU and Debansta over Texas. I'm taking Gonzaga over I really wanted to go Kennesaw State here for the Alabama alumni coaching that team up, but I'm going to go with Gonzaga. The Zags. Josh Thorne is taking the Miami Hurricanes over Mizzou, and Blake is taking Purdue over Queens. We got Will taking Michigan over the Howard Bison. Then we got Ben going with the Bulldogs over St. Louis. I'm taking the Texas Tech Red Raiders, one of the best names in college sports, over the Akron Zips. Josh Thorne taking the Crimson Tide over Hofstra, which I think is a trendy pick for an upset. Who all out there has the Crimson Tide losing in the first round to Hofstra? Then it's the Vials. Blake picked them to beat whoever won Miami, Ohio, SMU. Will's taking Virginia over Wright State. Ben sticking with the SEC, taking Kentucky over Santa Clara. And I am taking Iowa State over the Tennessee State Tigers because I'm not going for Tennessee in anything. So how are we feeling? First round, who are you disagreeing with? Bro Kings, are you saying that Alabama loses or wins that first round matchup? What are you calling there? All right, we're to the round of 32. We pick up with Josh, who is rolling with Duke. Then we have St. John's and Kansas. Blake Holloman rolling with the Jayhawks as well. Then we have Louisville versus Michigan State, and Will starts his or continues his picking of the Mitten State teams. That will be a running theme throughout. And then we have Ben taking UConn over UCLA. Then we have the Florida Gators. I have Florida versus Clemson. I'm taking the Gators. I think they're going to get on a roll for a while. Then we have Josh taking Vandy over Troy for my first round upset. Still trying to keep the cat out of the way here. And now he's licking me, which is interesting nonetheless. We got Blake taking Illinois over North Carolina. Then we take Will takes Houston over the Aggies. Ben gets Arizona versus Villanova. He's taking the Wildcats. Interesting enough, I have a Wildcat with me right now. All right, Bro King says Bama wins. I certainly hope so. I'll be disappointed if they don't. Crushed might be a better word. Let's see who's got Wisconsin and Arkansas. That would be me. I'm rolling with Woo Pig Sooie, SEC champs, Arkansas Razorbacks. Then we've got Josh Thorne with the BYU versus Gonzaga, and he is taking the upset BYU Debansta over Gonzaga. And we have Miami. Miami versus Purdue. That is a Blake Holloman pick, and he's taking the Purdue Boilermakers to get to the Sweet 16. Michigan versus Georgia. Will takes the Wolverines. Texas Tech versus Alabama. Ben Hayes says Bama is getting to the Sweet 16. Picking Bama to the Sweet 16. I get the Tennessee Vols versus the Virginia Cavaliers, and you know who I'm rolling with. Let's go Cavs. Send the Vols home where they belong. And then Josh is taking Kentucky over Iowa State. So that's the Sweet 16. Let's get a little bit of an update here where we stand going into the tournament. We got Ben Hayes at 14-9 on his picks for the year so far. I'm leading the pack at 18-5. So I took some chances in the first round. Josh Thorne sitting at 16-6. Blake Holloman at 15-8. And Will Mahan at 12-10, looking to make up some ground. He is the defending champ, 2 years in a row, defending champs of the bracket pick. All right, on to the Sweet 16. On to the Sweet 16. We've got Duke versus Kansas. Got to find out where we are here. Duke versus Kansas. Oh, man, I lost my place. We've got Blake Holloman taking Duke over Kansas to the Elite Eight. We've got Will taking UConn over Michigan State to the Elite Eight. That one goes chalk, the first and second seed. Then we get to Ben Hayes is taking Florida in a revenge match over Vandy to make the Elite Eight. I'm taking Houston over Illinois to the Elite Eight. Back up to the top in the West, we got Josh taking Arizona over Arkansas to the Elite Eight. And then we've got Blake taking Purdue over BYU to the Elite Eight, and that one's chalk as well, the 1 and 2 seed. We've got Will taking Michigan, ending Alabama's run in the Sweet 16, which I will be happy with. I guess content with. Obviously, you want them to win. And then Ben is taking Virginia over Kentucky. And so everything is chalk except for the Midwest region where Michigan and third-ranked Virginia, 3-seed Virginia, are in the Elite Eight. In the Elite Eight. Let's check. All right. Now we have the Elite Eight picking up Duke and UConn. I get the first pick in the Elite Eight. I'm taking Duke Blue Devils to go to the Final Four. Duke Blue Devils to the Final Four. Josh is going with Florida over Houston to the Final Four to take on Duke. Then we have Arizona and Purdue. Blake is going with the Wildcats to the Final Four. And Will taking Michigan as he has done throughout the tournament. If Michigan loses early, Will may be out early. And so there we have the Final Four. Who's your Final Four? Bro Kings, who goes to Marcel. Who's your Final Four out there? Leave it in the comments. We'd love to throw it up here. The Final Four. Official panel of dislike Final Four. We've got number 1 seed Duke, number 1 seed Florida, number 1 seed Arizona, number 1 seed Michigan. Fairly chalk across the board, Final Four. And so our national championship matchup, we're going to have Will is going to take Florida over Duke in probably an upset. I think most people think that's an upset. And then Josh is taking Michigan over Arizona in the national championship, according to the panel of dislike, will be Florida and Michigan for it all. Florida and Michigan for it all. Who is going to win? Who do you think, Bro Kings? Florida or Michigan? And so on this one, the national championship matchup, we all get a vote. And so Ben is going with Michigan. That's 1 for them. I'm going with Michigan. That's 2. Will is going with Florida. There's 1 for them. Michigan also with Josh Thorne. So it's 3-1. Michigan's going to be the pick. And Blake is taking Michigan to win. So it's a 4-1. Will picks Florida over Michigan. The rest of us pick Michigan. And so the official panel of dislike pick'em national champion is the Michigan Wolverines. And they're going to be your national champions. According to the panel of dislike, Michigan Wolverines are taking it. Any wild takes out there on the March Madness? Who's winning it? Who's got the wildest national championship winner out there on the panel of dislike? I know I enjoy this. So we'll probably be back when the Final Four is final, and then we can pick from there, hoping the Crimson Tide can at least get to the Sweet 16. I know there's a lot of people thinking maybe Hofstra pulls it off. Texas Tech may be a hard pull, but certainly cheering for the Tide to get to the Sweet 16. If you've not joined our group yet, the Bracket Challenge, the link is in the description. Click it. Password is Triple H Pod. Join us. If you beat the panel, if you beat everybody, you come in first. You can pick some free merch from benandtravis.com/store. As usual, we appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Have a great evening. And hey, it's March Madness. Let's do this thing.